Alright, so I had two games with Edric that I thought were worth recording. One of them was last night, playing against Capper0502. The other one was this game against Raziel282 today. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the Capper game, and at the end of the video, I'll bring up the list so you can check it out and see what I've done with the deck. So Capper is actually playing a commander that I have some respect for here. It's an interesting commander anyway. As far as control goes, Ashling the Extinguisher. I think it's probably better off as a card in a deck, part of a package. I think the best commanders for black are probably the Infect Dragon, who can end the game in between 1 and 2 hits. 3 at the max. Between him and the new god who can draw you a ton of cards. That seems to be the two best options. But if you're not going to use one of those two, I suppose this might be one of the next best. I haven't considered it too heavily. Anyway, my first hand was a mulligan. My second hand was a keeper, although not particularly great against mono-black artifacts, are harder for them to kill. So it's got a bit more resiliency. So I actually make a strange play, I thought, with exiling Tezzeret for Areo. Exiling Tezzeret's hard to do against mono-black because Tezzeret's so very good against him, for the reasons you just stated. But this play threatens to play turn 2 Edric, attack and draw a card, so it seemed worth it. And then he had Vampiric Tutor and a Mana Crypt, and suddenly it didn't seem so worth it anymore. Turn 2 Ashling. However, it is the best play I can make in this circumstance, so I go ahead and get my card. And now my problems begin. He's able to play an Death Mantle, which isn't an issue yet, but it means I'm not going to be chump blocking because he's going to have a fear creature if he wants one. And it's a fear terror on a stick. So he, edict on a stick, I suppose. Targeted edicting, targeted sacrifices. So there's no point in letting him hit me and then kill Edric. I might as well block and kill Edric myself and take less damage. This turn I'm able to play Boreal Druid and wait for his attack step. I was hoping he'd do exactly what he just did, which was equip his guy before attacking. So he does, and this buys me a little bit of time. So I bounce his commander, and he can't replay it this turn. But it gives me a chance to top deck land, which, I mean, it had to happen. If it didn't top deck land, I would have been able to use Boreal Druid to make this play, but it wouldn't have been as good. So I get to draw 2 cards here, and hopefully find a solution, treachery or something along those lines. But I don't. However, I do find the new card I've added to that, Bident. So we'll find out if that is any good. Unfortunately, in the face of a damnation, Ashling is even stronger, but he's 1 mana short from playing it, with haste, so I have a tiny bit of time. Also, unfortunately for me, though, he's got a demonic tutor, so that tiny bit of time is running out quickly. And I get Natural Order. I don't have enough mana to play Hive Master Order, which would probably get me right back into the game. So instead what I do is I play Lotus Shackles Go, and hope that the card he got was not Mind Twist. I know the last card in his hand actually is Ashling, so it turns out it definitely wasn't Mind Twist, it was probably Lightning Greaves. Or maybe it was Homeward Path. Actually, thinking about it, it probably was Homeward Path, because he would know that the best thing I can do is steal his commander, and he's now set himself up to be essentially theft-proof. The interesting thing, I've thought about playing Homeward Path in this deck, because the interesting thing about it is, if I Terrastodon somebody, and then tap Homeward Path, I gain control of all the elephants. And I also have ways to go fetch lands, like Tezzeret for a map, or just drawing the map. So it actually is a very kind of interesting card, one I will continue to consider for this deck. However, the reason I don't play it at this time is that, although it's good against Theft, and it has that cool combo with Terrastodon, I do have a lot of things like Shackles, cases where it wouldn't necessarily be good, and also it's colorless mana, not colored mana. And also, if you trusted on somebody, you generally want the elephants, but you generally have already won and don't need them. So anyway, he gets down with he has a hexproof, hasted, shrouded, or a shrouded, hasteproof intimidating 6/6 who edicts me and will also kill me in 3 more hits due to the 21 damage from commander rule. But I have Hive Master Edric and a token. So he gets in for more damage and kills my commander right away. So now my commander is, 9 mana? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I could tap out to cast it. Or I could cast my Bident and draw a couple of cards right now. Boom, boom. And get lucky and draw a Cradle. Which means that I'm able to... I don't know what's going on. Oh, I bet I didn't draw a Cradle here. I bet I drew something else. And we are gonna glitch out. Well, that's fairly depressing. Yeah. At any rate, what happens is I natural order, kill the insect. I don't think I drew Cradle here. I drew stuff I couldn't really use or whatever. I don't know, maybe I drew something useful, but anyway, I'm able to natural order insect away. I get Terrastodon. Terrastodon takes down the Death Mantle, the Greaves, and I kill Homeward Path. That way, in case I do draw a Theft spell, Homeward Path is gone, and as far as, although ironically I would want him to activate it and give me my elephants, but anyway, I've got Vedalken Shackles in place, so, I want Path dead. Greaves dies just because I don't know what could have come down and attacked right away, although with Hall of the Bannerlord he still has that option, but at least it won't have Shroud, and Death Mantle goes away because I need to be able to block. On his turn he sends in 3 elephants and Ashling, I block Ashling. After that, it's a simple matter of drawing additional cards and forcing him to continue to slam his guys into Terrastodon with Bident, and he gives up. So, it was an awesome game, and interesting first play attempt with this card. Like it so far. We'll continue to monitor it. In game 2, though, in my second game, my game of the day today, Raziel here wins the dice roll and is playing Carador Ghost Chieftain. I don't know. It's an interesting commander in those colors since it has the ability to get very cheap. One of the things you want from a commander is cheapness, and it also can produce additional cards, and the other thing you want from a commander is cards. His commander doesn't start out cheap, but because it becomes that way, it actually will offset the... if it dies, you can just have more creatures in the graveyard to offset the cost of, +2 mana per turn. You can get him to a point where he's always only 3. Kind of awesome in that sense. So I keep a slow hand against him, and he's got a fast start versus me with a Spawn Writhe. So I search immediately because I don't want to draw a tap land, and actually I don't want to draw land at all. And I have no way to stop Spawn Writhe. Due to its trample, there's nothing I can do here. And that's going to get out of control quickly. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, he's got a Buried Alive, which is like the best card that you can play in Carador, I think, really. One of their marquee cards, other than maybe Survival of the Fittest, is just Buried Alive, because it's Demonic Tutor and it's Thran Dynamo for Carador. Triple Demonic Tutor plus Thran Dynamo for 3 mana seems pretty good. So this turn I sack before brainstorming because I don't have time to mess around with brainstorms and sack lands. I get down with a mana producer, and he smacks me 2 more creatures. Fortunately, he can't play his guys from the graveyard just yet, but it's coming. He actually has a discount of 3, so his Carador currently costs 5. When he sacks this, it'll cost 4, and then he'll be able to start casting him. And of course, I've got Spawn Rise going out of control. And he has a Carrion Feeder, so now he can really play his guys as much as he wants. So this is trying to make a bit of a misplay, unfortunately. I cast Edric, tap for 2, pick up, and tap for 2 more. And then I should have played Oracle of Moldiah. But I play Shackles, and then, if I was going to play Shackles, what I should have done is tried to take his Carrion Feeder. So if I try to take his Carrion Feeder, he will have to sacrifice... I have 3 islands, so he will have to sacrifice 3 creatures. in order to make this a 4/4 and prevent me from stealing it. So, presumably, he wants to get mana with this, and this is mana, and this is mana. So that would literally eat 3 spawn writhes. Or mana sources. Either way, that's a good deal for me. But I screw up, and I target spawn writhe, and so he just eats it with his carrion feeder. So now, not only am I in a bad spot here, but I've misplayed. And I could have attacked before doing all that and seen if maybe the card I drew was even better than making this play at all. So this turn I completely flubbed. Mainly because I saw all the spine rise and all the stuff that was going to happen, and I was a little bit shaken by the fact that I was losing so harshly. So one thing you definitely have to try to keep a grips on is you can allow yourself to be so frustrated and afraid of the game loss that you start giving them the game, even when you're already losing and it seems there's no way out. You've got to constantly, play so that you can get, even if there's only one way to win, even if it's top decking Lightning Helix where they're at 3 and you have an empty hand, right? You've got to play like that's going to happen. You've got to get them to that 3 life so you can do that. Or in this case, I had to get to a situation where I had enough mana to get back in this game and win it. So, my opponent kills Edric so I don't go find what I need, and so I don't have a 3/3 blocker for Spawn Wraith, and then sacks his Shriekmaw with its sacrifice ability on the stack to Carrion Feeder. So now I could actually potentially take his Carador and 1, 2, 3, 4. It would cost 4 less plus 2, so it would only cost 2 less. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would cost 5 mana, and he's got the 5 mana. But it was a thought. It is a possible option for me. However, that's not going to win the game. So what I do is make the play I probably should have made the last turn. I play Oracle. In fact, almost definitely. And luckily, there is a Tomb on top to help me out this turn. So I play the Tomb right off the top. Pick up the Archdruid. Tap for 4 and cast Garruk, thanks to the Tomb. And then for my second land, I play Simic. Now, I could pick up, say, the Island here, and then Garruk these 2 lands and have 4 mana. But I actually don't need that. And I'm also trying to carefully control my damage. I can't take too much damage or I'm dead meat anyway. So I make this play here, setting myself up so that, here's the top of my library, so that there's a chance that I can win this game. And I know for sure I can lose one of my creatures, any one of my creatures, and still make the play that I want to make, which, if you haven't figured it out, is Cyclonic Rift. So if you look at the mana, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pick up a forest, 5, 6, 7. Pick up a forest, replay it. God dang it. 5, 6. Pick up a forest and replay it. 7, 8. Tap the forest, 9 mana. But if I use a Tomb instead of the forest, it would be 10 mana. And 10 mana is enough to transmute Muddle and cast Rift. That's if all 3 creatures remain in play and I don't use Garruk. So if he sends tons of guys at Garruk and doesn't kill any of my guys, I can Rift him. So on the other hand, let's say Garruk lives, but he manages to kill the Archdruid. So in that case, I've got 2, 3, 4. I can play both lands, 5, 7, and then I can untap 2, 4, or 2, 3, 8, 9, 10. That's enough mana to Muddle and Rift. So that's if he killed the Archdruid. If he kills Oracle, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If he kills Oracle, it taps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, untap, 8, 9, 10. That's enough to do it. And see if he kills the Scrib, I've got enough to do it. So bottom line is, as long as I keep 3 out of 4 permanents in play, I'm okay. So with that in mind, I don't use any mana and I keep counter mana up. And so when he goes for Shriekmaw, what I do is I counter the Shriekmaw, because that guarantees that one of these creatures is going to live. Unless he has another removal spell, he can only use his Carador once per turn. And so even if he sends the whole team at Garruk, I'm good to go. But what he decides to do is This is a 3/3, so he decides he doesn't want to send. He decides. Plus, Spawn Wraith only triggers if it hits me, so he goes Spawn Wraiths all to the head, Spawn Wraiths to the head, and then 3/3 at Garrick. And not sending. He doesn't send these other guys because I guess because I have a 3/3 and a 1/1, I could trade for Carador, and he would only get to kill one of them, or I could kill either one with my 3/3. So he sends them all that way, and as a result, I'm able to just throw the Scrib in front of Carrion and protect Garrick. Because I think Garrick's more valuable here. Like, I picked up so many lands, I need to get lands into play, or else I can't use Shackles. You know, if I just keep picking up forests. So this is the least useful mana source, although it is a good mana source for me. So I make the block, and he Spawn Wraiths me. And this also, because he wasn't able to get enough damage in, this ensures that I'm going to be able to use Tomb a little bit more before I lose the game. So you take a look at this board, and it's like insane. But I am able to play, and I don't really want to use Tomb, so first I'm gonna start shuffling and seeing if I can find like Cradle instead. But I know for sure I want the Tropical Island down because I'd like to ultimately be able to take Carador. I need 3 islands to do it. So first things first, I go ahead and just transmute Muddle, hoping that it'll reveal Guy's Cradle. And it reveals a Arbor Elf. And I go get a Rift. So now I know that I have to play the Tomb. So I play the Tomb, and I tap for 2, and then Garrick, both of those, 3, 5, 7, Rift. And I can't, Rift bounces everything, all the non-lands, so Arbor's safe. It's like the only creature who's safe, but now he doesn't have his Carrion Feeder. I take that too, and then I just pass the turn. I don't even swing here because like I don't want him to play, I don't know, Tarmogoyf Lightning Greaves and then attack and either kill me. I think that would kill me. You know, or Garrick or whatever. I don't want to mess around with giving him an opening. And 3 damage out of 39 is not the issue. Control is the issue. So there is 0 reason to attack. Like, if you're the control player, unless you have Edric or some like Bident of Thassa or something like that, I mean, if you have a counterspell in your hand, then swing for the fences. But if you have nothing, a lot of times swing with everything but one guy, and don't let yourself get greedy for some meaningless life total damage. So anyway, he plays Unburial Rites on Shieldred. But this is great because this is just one thing that I have to answer, as opposed to, you know, a board full of them. And he's got a handful of stuff that's not in play, so this buys me a lot of time. And thankfully, I stole his guy, so I brainstormed at the end of turn looking for hopefully land that I could put on top and set myself up with Oracle, but I didn't find any. So I put Sword underneath an Elf. And then during my upkeep, I just give him his dead Arbor back. And now I'm able to play Arbor Elf, play Rofellos, and thanks to them being elves, tap Elvish Archdruid for a whole bunch of mana, get down with Witness, picking up Rift, and remember he didn't cast this, he cheated it into play, so he's not going to have the mana to cast it, so I can bounce it back to his hand. And then, because I don't feel like taking additional damage, instead of making a creature, even though I would have a counterspell ready to go, I untap these 2 lands with Garrick. And now I have blockers, so I go ahead and swing in for some damage. And pass the turn. I didn't want to take damage with the Tomb now, because I might need the Tomb later, and I only have 2 uses out of it, or I can use it once and play 2 sack lands, or I can use it once, play a sack land, and force a will. So I've got to be, you know, not overly cautious. Can't be afraid to use it, but if I don't need to use it, I'm not going to. And trading 2 life for a 3/3, trading, you know, 40% of my life total for a 3/3 just didn't seem too worthwhile at this time. Unfortunately, he plays Hexmage, and so I either have to counter it and keep Garrick alive or let Garrick die. But if you look at the situation here, I know he's got his commander in hand, who's a huge problem, and he's got the ability to flash back on Burial Rites, which is another huge problem. I can't afford to protect Garrick. He's just going to have to die. And then, instead of playing on Burial Rites, he plays Carrion Feeder, which I'm totally cool with. And he plays Spawn Wraith, which I'm totally cool with, because, if you notice, the top card of my library is Sword of Fire and Ice, right? and I have Vedalken Shackles in play. So what I'm able to do is tap for a bunch of mana, and I actually did it slightly wrong. I should cast Edric first and then tap the Archdruid for +1. But anyway, I try to take his Spawn Wraith, and of course he's going to feed it to his feeder, and then I'm able to just play Sword of Fire and Ice. Now I'm glad for that 2 damage. And I put Sword of Fire and Ice, and that first line there says Carrion Feeder cannot protect itself from the sword or its holder. And since I've got a blocker here, if I need one, plus a counter spell, I swing in with everybody, get myself a free card, another free card, another free card, and I'm able to play 2 lands as well. One off the top and one from my hand. So now, even worse for him, next turn, instead of drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards, I'll draw 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13 cards. So I'm going to draw 5 cards for 4 mana next turn, potentially, if he doesn't come up with a solution here. Basically, this is the only way I can think of, other than Coastal Piracy, which is obviously strictly inferior to this. It's the only way I can think of to get 2 Edrics into play, and turn 1 creature into a draw 2. I mean, basically, if you had this and Edric by himself, you're drawing 2 cards per turn, same as if you had Edric and a creature. But as soon as you play a second creature, you're now drawing 4 cards a turn, which means that you're drawing. If this were a creature, you would have only drawn 3 per turn. So this is the power of doubling. This is obviously more powerful than any other creature. Just about, barring like maybe Overland Viper. But then when you get your 3rd creature, it's still more powerful. Plus, it has the ability to force them to attack. So those are the thoughts I have as to why I like Bident. Anyway, so he plays his commander. I let his commander go. There's no point in putting it back into his command zone, especially not when I know I can steal it with Shackles, and then he plays Shriekmaw, and I don't care because, I mean, what does it matter? Kill Edric. I've got a Bident. Kill whatever you want, dude. I've got mana. I've got cards. I am not worried about it. And in fact, I'm so not worried about cards, and of course, sacklines are so worthless to me that Crucible is now worthless to me, so end of turn I get rid of it. Turn it into, Trastodon. Hey, that's awesome. And I also go get myself an extra forest for Raphelos, and steal his Carador. Now I can play creatures from the graveyard, like that Elvish Archdruid he just killed. And I go to do exactly that, and he gives up. So he's going to play Archdruid, cast my Bident, and then I was about to draw 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards. I think that was a good game. So does he. So I hope you enjoyed that longish video there. And hopefully that explanation of why I have, after just adding Cryptic Command, I've gone and removed Cryptic Command and replaced it with Bident of Thassa. But I think ultimately it's way more appropriate for what this deck's trying to do, and a lot easier to cast. I guess time will tell. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.